All right, welcome back everyone to another episode of Talking Tridents, a Mariners podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Mariners bringing back Jorge Polanco, the remainder of the offseason, our thoughts, and what we think the Mariners should do moving forward before we get to spring training. Let's get right into it. Uh, let's start us off. Jorge Polanco
Pol-
back to the Mariners.
Polo is back. He is here. He is live. Number 7. Jorge Polanco back on a 1-year deal. It does include a buyout and an option for year 2. I have some details here on the signing. It looks like it's a base $7 million deal, $750,000 buyout with some incentives in there too. So if he was to reach all those incentives, he would actually be paid the same amount as his opt out that the Mariners took or declined at the beginning of the offseason.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too. He's going to be playing third base. He is coming back to play third base. How do you feel
That
about
was a
that?
shock to me. That was a
Yeah,
shock. Yeah, I
I,
think obviously he's not the best defender. I mean, if you look at
right.
his defensive numbers, he's probably one of the lower end defenders in the league. But I
Yeah,
think the Mariners have a higher need at third base, and they have more options at second base, which is what their thought was on that. Do I love it? No. I think that we could have been more aggressive in other ways. A lot more upside out there, but I also don't hate it. I know that Julio was very excited when we signed Polanco. He actually shared something on his Instagram saying Polo back. So for me, team chemistry is very important. So seeing that was very important to me when the signing was announced.
yeah, yeah. Do I think the Mariners were there better options out there? Yeah, and I think it was more of I don't know about a last resort type of move, but it kind
Hmm.
of felt like okay, we're stuck with this.
Yeah.
Let's try to make this work. But I'm honestly I'm happy about it actually. I'm pretty excited. I think seeing him, I think he's gonna have a bounce back year. I
Hmm.
think I'm higher on Jorge Polanco than most Mariners fans, or some people may disagree with me from what I've been seeing. There's kind of mixed. Seems like there's mixed feelings on bringing him back, but I actually like this. I like the fact that he's gonna be playing third, at least for now, is what it
Hmm.
seems like.
Start the season off. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good move considering where we were, what our roster was looking like right before we signed him. I mean, I think it's an immediate upgrade for
Hmm.
our roster.
Going
Obviously,
from Dylan Moore as the main option to now Jorge Polanco. I mean, he's a more proven
exactly.
bat. He's had All Star appearance, a 30 home run season.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
yeah,
I
I'm
like.
happy.
I like. I like having Jorge Polanco more than I
Yeah.
like having Dylan Moore as an everyday third baseman. 100%. Um, I Yeah, I think Jorge Polanco is due to have a bounce back year. Um, and I think part of the reason, obviously, is at least at this point what I'm hoping or thinking is Donovan Solano is going to be at second.
Hmm.
Obviously, JP is going to be at short. So Jorge Polanco, where does he fit in? He's going to fit in at third.
Hmm.
So I think it's good. I'm actually pretty excited about it. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm actually pretty happy with the move. I know it's not the big exciting deal that we everyone's been hoping or waiting for, but I think it's a solid move bringing him back. And then it just leaves, for me, in my opinion, it just leaves first base. First base. What do we? I mean, we have to do something there. I feel like that's our last option, right?
Looking at last season, I mean, we saw him have a career worst first half. I mean, he was hitting.
Yeah,
Was he below 200 the first half of the year before the All Star break?
that was rough. Yeah,
Polanco.
I believe.
Yeah,
I
it
believe
was
so.
rough,
Yeah.
but we saw him bounce back pretty well. I mean, he was having a rough season, and he ended up with 213 average, not fantastic by any means, but he made up
Yeah.
for it a little bit. And I don't know if you were aware of this, but he had surgery recently. I think it was on his knee. Yeah, underwent surgery to repair his patellar tendon in his left knee, and
Yeah.
with hopefully he can come back with a strong knee. He can be feeling better and more confident. Because I mean, we all know that when you're hitting, that knee's
Right.
very impacted right there. So I think
Right.
I think just like you said, bounce back season incoming. I mean, he has too good of a track record to not. I mean, even if he hits 250. 15 plus homers, 50 plus RBIs, and gets on base at least at a 350 clip, I mean, I'm happy with that.
Right. Yeah. I think what a lot of people have been saying too is, yeah, if he's last year he wasn't healthy with the knee injury. Now this year he should be healthy. So hopefully that's a good sign for a bounce back season. I'm higher on him having a bounce back season this year than Mitch Garver for sure.
Oh,
So.
I think I want both of them to have a bounce back season, and I think they will both have a bounce back season. They're just too good, but
I mean, it's just crazy looking at his looking at Jorge Polanco's numbers. Last year, his average was 213, which is horrendous. But before that, 255, 235, 269, 258, 295, 288. So
he's a proven hitter. I mean, if you look at his average alone, I mean, he looks like a Donovan Solano type before last year. If you take out 2022 and 2024, he has a 260 plus average on his career.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think it was the best case scenario, like you said. And one thing I love about it is it's an incentive based deal. So if you look at the root of it, let's say he has a year like last year, right? He just doesn't do what he was supposed to do, doesn't produce. He makes $7 million, and we decline the option. But if he has a bounce back year, 250, 15 plus home runs, really good at third base defense, he makes more money, and there's an option to keep him around one more year.
Yeah,
it stops that revolving door the Mariners have had at second base since Robinson Cano's left.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know he's at third base, but you understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he has $3 million in incentives, which is a lot of money. So I do like that. I do like that aspect of it. Obviously, I think between him and Solano, if anyone is going to be here past this season, it's going to be Jorge Polanco.
Yeah.
I think Donovan Solano is kind of a filler before we can, start bringing up guys like potentially Cole Young or
Colt Emerson,
Field
prospects, yeah.
So I think that's kind of where they are, because from everything I've been seeing, as much as me or other people would like to see Cole Young and Cole Emerson, I don't think any of them are going to be coming up either to start the season or this year, really. So
if we see them, it's going to be after All-Star break or even September call-up just to get a little experience. So
yeah, exactly.
I have Baseball Reference up right now, and looking at Polanco's page, it looks, and they have the 2025 projections. This is where he's projected, and I want to hear your over or under on these numbers.
Okay.
So they have him projected at just under 500 plate appearances. I think that's realistic. 17 home runs, 54 RBIs, batting .231 with an OPS of .710, which is just around league average. What are your thoughts on that? Are you thinking he's going to exceed that expectation, or he's going to go below that?
That does sound really realistic, those numbers. I mean, let's be realistic, and it's the Mariners. I mean, we know. But I think I'm a little over. I'm on the average, I'm over. What'd you say, 231?
Seems low.
Yeah, I think 231 seems low. I'm over on that. I think he's going to have a better average than that. Home runs, 17.
I can see him,
17, I'm actually over on that too. I think 20, low 20s is where I'd be at.
Well, especially if we see the second half Polanco we saw. I mean, there was a stretch where he had 5 home runs in 2 weeks or something like that. So the power's still there. Switch hitter, and our right field porch is pretty manageable for a left-handed bat. So
yeah, exactly.
So I know that you just talked about other third base options this offseason, and you've always been high on Alec Bohm. You've wanted him for.
I love Alec Bohm. Alec Bohm. Yeah.
My hot take, and then we're going to differ on this, but Polo will have a better season by WAR than Alec Bohm this year in 2025.
Really? Wow. What makes you say that?
He's coming off a career year. The Phillies don't necessarily want him on the roster. They talked about trading him away. They talked about looking at other options. He might regress in a lot of ways because of that. You never know.
Mentally, you think that mental and his
knowing
morale,
that a team
probably?
is shopping you and then keeping you on the team. I mean, it could definitely affect the way you play. So, my hot take is Polo will have a better year by WAR this year than Alec Bohm, just because of watching his second half production. If he can do 250, 25 home runs, he's going to be better than Alec Bohm by WAR. So.
Yeah, I definitely disagree with that. I love Alec Bohm. I think, like you said, the Phillies were potentially shopping him. or interested in seeing what they could get. That's why I thought he was a great candidate for the Mariners, and in a deal that would potentially involve Luis Castillo, and then maybe another prospect or something that they could go after Alec Boehm and have a realistic shot at getting him. Now I don't think that that's going to happen because we signed Polanco, and they've already said he's going to be moving over to third base. So unfortunately,
I still see an option in the offseason where they could trade for Alec Boehm still. I know it's not realistic. Put Polo back at second base, and that immediately lengthens your lineup as well as fortifies your infield. So
yeah, but what about
I think
what about Donovan Solano then? Where's he gonna go if they move?
He's your DH. First base option, second base every couple of days to give someone a rest. I mean, he just turns into more like you have your Dylan Moore super utility guy, and then you have your Donovan Solano who just kind of finds his way in the lineup because he's hitting. So.
Yeah. So let's look at Alec Boehm's his stats last year. I mean, so he was hitting 280, 97 RBIs, 15 home runs, and a 780 OPS with 554 at bats. And I do not see any way that even if Alec Boehm is going to continue to rake at that level, I'm sure, and I don't see Jorge Polanco getting anywhere near those kind of numbers in terms of.
That's why it's a hot take, baby.
We're
gonna see.
Home run. Home runs, okay. Home runs, yeah, sure. RBIs, no. Average, no. I think Polanco at best is like realistically next year is like a 260 hitter. Obviously, I'd want more higher, but I think realistically 260 hitter. Alec Boehm, I think, is going to continue to have another great year. And then the Phillies are either going to shop him again next season, and they're gonna want a higher asking price. I'm big on Alec Boehm, so.
Well, I hope I can prove you wrong later in the season, because if we had a Polo better than Alec Boehm's season, that changes a lot for our lineup right there.
That would be huge. I mean, I would love to see that. Don't get me wrong, but no, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Overall, I think I'm excited. My off-season grade, going back to episode 1, goes up only a little bit. I think we're more at a C-. I'd say, this definitely adds that bat to your lineup that we already had last year. I understand that, but it's better. Or your lineup's better with him in it than it is without, and it's a cost-effective way to fill, like you said, a hole in the lineup, while also hopefully being able to move to the next step, second base and first base. So.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy about it. Is there guys that I would rather the Mariners have at third? Yeah, of course. But given where we are right now, and realistically, I'm pretty happy with bringing Jorge Polanco back. Honestly, I mean, like I said before, I think it's a huge. The day before, I mean, we were that infield was rough.
Dylan Moore.
Yeah, and Austin Shenton. I mean, come on. So I think. Yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm pretty excited. But I think now that just leaves first base. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm not happy with the way our first base is still looking. I mean, Luke Raley, Tyler Locklear. I mean, come on.
I still think we're in better shape than most teams. There's a lot of teams out there that don't have an option in Luke Raley, a left-handed bat, a big first baseman, a big target that you could throw to. Definitely is an area of improvement. I recognize that, but I think having Luke Raley slot in there just every 4 out of 6 games is not the worst thing in the world. I think you could have done a lot worse. Luke Raley has shown now 2 seasons back to back that he can produce, especially in big moments. So. I obviously see that it'd be great to have Christian Walker on the roster. And that would be, that was my offseason want, was Christian Walker playing first base. But unfortunately, the limitations in the budget, I think. That
didn't happen.
Doing the best they're doing the best they can with the options they have.
Yeah, and because for me, the way I look at it is kind of like we mentioned already, but the Mariners. Coming up, we have, Cole Young, second base, Cole Emerson, third base, JP, he's going to still probably be around for a little while at short. Who do we have coming up for first base? I know Tyler Locklear but we already got a glimpse of him, and I don't know. I'm
I
not
mean,
sold on him.
I
So,
think Montas has a potential to be a first baseman. You know, they said he's a big bat Jordan Alvarez type who
right.
um, doesn't have a lot of athleticism in the outfield. He could be your potential first baseman down the line because
Yeah.
he's mashing his way up the system. He's going to need to be in the lineup somehow, and
Yeah.
corner outfielder spots are taken for the interim, and
Yeah.
he might not have anywhere else to go but either DH or first base. So
Yeah. Everything I've seen, they were talking about, obviously a potential corner outfielder, but also like an everyday DH type.
mhm,
So I wouldn't be mad at seeing him at first base either. I mean, I
no,
think that'd be a good fit to get his bat in the lineup. But
I agree.
again, other than that, a potential position change, unlike our other positions, we don't have anyone really coming up for first base. So that's why I kind of want to target someone who could potentially be more than just a 1 year type of guy, or someone who offers a little more long term potential. I guess you could say.
And early in the offseason, we heard rumors that the Mariners made even a higher offer to Carlos Santana. So I mean, we see the Mariners; they were trying to get someone to fortify that spot for a little bit. Carlos Santana coming off of a year where he was a Gold Glove winner. He had arguably one of his best offensive years in the last 4 or 5 years. Mariners threw him what two years, $24 million, and he's 39 years old. So
Yeah.
there was opportunity out there. I don't know if they offered Walker anything. They really should have. Pete Alonso's still out there. He's still a great option. They're not going to spend that money. So this
No.
was the year. I mean, we saw the shortstop year a few years back with Carlos Correa and Dansby Swanson and everyone available.
Right.
And then this year was the first base year, and clearly, like you
Hmm.
said, a position of need, and they missed out on the opportunity. So
Yeah.
yeah. So what are some offseason targets you still see the Mariners, being able to go out and get? I know they said they're pretty much set, but I still think there's a lot of opportunity out there. Who do you want to see the Mariners go get?
They have a remainder of like $5 million left in their budget.
Yeah,
So
their alleged $20 million budget. Yeah, they don't have too
yeah,
much left.
so realistically, a free agent, unfortunately, may not be. That's not Pete Alonso money, but I
No.
have three. I have a few guys. So one of them, I don't know how you or the Mariners community is going to feel about this one. This is a very
Ooh, I'm excited.
Mariners type signing because um, just given our track record with busts and prospects. But Spencer Torkelson, Spencer Torkelson
Okay.
to first base for the Mariners. The Tigers, from what I've read, I think they are either ready or willing to consider moving on from Spencer Torkelson, who, remind you, was the number one overall pick a few years ago. The league was huge on him, even beginning of last year and then the year before that. Um, but with the Tigers, I mean, I've read that uh, they sent Spencer Torkelson down last year, and he struggled immensely last season. But I've read that they're potentially moving Colt Keith over to first.
Mhm.
Torkelson, I mean, they have other prospects coming up like Max Clark. Torkelson's kind of that guy that I don't know if he didn't work out for them. I think the Mariners going after him, putting him at first, maybe trying to rejuvenate his career. I think could be a risk I'm willing to take.
I mean,
Now,
we saw last year Victor Robles came over and was able to put up a 3.1 WAR in half a season.
that's true,
I
exactly.
I definitely see where you're going. I mean, um,
Plus,
I think the league's been talking a lot about the Alex Bregman once he signs, what domino effects will happen on that. And the Mariners' name have
right.
been involved multiple times, and I think
Hmm.
partially because of Spencer Torkelson, former top prospect. Even just he's 2 years removed from a 30 home run season where he had a
Yeah.
758 OPS back in 23. Uh,
Yep.
I I'm not mad about it. I like it.
I think we could get Torkelson for a realistic deal that the Mariners could potentially trade for. I mean,
What would
I
that
know
look like?
Castillo, I know Castillo's the guy that everyone thinks, or wants the Mariners to move. Now, I don't know if a Castillo for Torkelson straight up is really. I think that's too much. I don't really feel comfortable giving up Castillo for Torkelson straight up. But if they threw in someone else, or if we maybe traded I would be willing to trade a prospect
That's what I was
for
thinking.
um, for Spencer Torkelson. If we threw in a guy like
It wouldn't take a top 10 prospect. It wouldn't.
no, it wouldn't. Not at his state right now. That's why I think we could get potentially a steal. I would look at someone like potentially Emerson Hancock type to trade for Spencer Torkelson.
I think that's even too much. I'm
Yeah,
gonna pull
I
up
mean
the
I could
Mariners
see that.
prospects really quick because
It is a
I like
gamble
this
on our
team.
part because uh, Torkelson, isn't last year struggled, but
I have the Mariners top 30 prospects pulled up right now. I think this trade could make it happen for like a Michael Morales, our 13th overall prospect. He's a right-hander. He's 22 and he's playing in Double A right now. Or
yeah,
last season, I should say. I think you give him someone like that. He's someone similar to Troy Taylor, who's on our team right now. He's that a guy you can probably put into your bullpen, start with some low leverage situations, and he could produce. I think the Tigers have a bullpen that's weaker than most.
hmm
Mariners have been able to develop pitching. They might take a chance on someone like that, someone that they can. Hey, we'll give you a shot because why not? Torkelson's taking up a roster spot. He's taking up a 26-man roster spot, and they're gonna want to view all options. So I think you can make it happen for Michael Morales. Even I would trade Troy Taylor for him, Trent Thornton, some type of bullpen arm that's available.
yeah. Even a bullpen guy like one of those, I think could
Mm-hmm.
get could get a deal done. I think Torkelson, um, yeah, I think it would be a great option for the Mariners. I'm willing to take that chance.
What
Um,
other names do you have on your want list for the remainder of the offseason?
yeah, so Torkelson was a guy that I think realistically I want. Another guy that I want is okay. Well, I have one that's I would be the best fit, Pete Alonso, but
Yeah,
that I don't think
that's not happening.
is
As
going
much
to
as we want it to
happen.
happen, that's not happening.
Yeah, kind of like you said with the Alex Bregman thing. I think once Bregman signs, I think that could open up a couple doors for a potential Mariners trade. If a team gets Bregman, there may be another guy that comes available that we could
Mhm.
get. So I think that is a domino effect that we can, kind of wait and see what happens there with some potential. Another guy that I want to go to free agency and sign is bring back Justin Turner. Let's run it back. I mean,
Yeah,
yes, he's 40, but he produced last year with the Mariners. I mean, he played great. I love him. So
I
I don't know
think
how you feel about that.
I don't hate it. Again, I just think it's unrealistic. The Mariners already have Mitch Garver and Mitch Haniger on the bench. If you throw
Yeah,
another 35-plus-year-old player on the bench, or I don't think Mitch Garver's quite 35 yet, but another slow potential power hitter on the bench, you really limit yourself on your bench. So I think Justin Turner coming back would be great if we can find a way to dump off Mitch Haniger or Mitch Garver type player.
yeah,
He was great
yeah.
last year for the clubhouse. He did a lot there, but I think the value is just not. I don't think it's there anymore. I think he served a purpose last year on the playoff push, didn't make it happen. Um, I I think there's better options out there. I like the Spencer Torkelson option more.
I
One
agree.
player I
Yeah,
have on. Sorry, go ahead.
I do like the Spencer Torkelson option more, and that did cross my mind with the age thing with Justin Turner. If we just signed Donovan Solano, 37. We just signed Jorge Polanco. Not that he's old, but 31. And then we have Garver and Haniger already. So
Because if you had those five players, and so
yeah,
if you
that
had Solano,
yeah,
Garver, Haniger, Turner on your roster,
right,
four guys on your roster, that leaves
yeah,
one bench spot for a speed option. That's just, I think
yeah.
if you have an opening day roster with those four guys on it, I think that's unacceptable. But
But I'm still taking Justin Turner over any of our current options at first base, so that's why I threw him on
yeah,
here. I think he could be a guy who's still unsigned that maybe we could get obviously for a better price than Pete Alonso. So the other
there's
guy,
been
hmm?
there's been a lot of speculation too about this name. I wonder if this is your third name, but Johan Moncada.
Yeah, I had him on my list.
Yeah.
I would like to see Johan Moncada, but isn't he a third? He's a third baseman though, so
Well, he's a third baseman and second baseman. Second
yeah.
base is kind
So
of still a looming hole. I mean, we have Solano, who's an option. We have Bliss, who I think they should give an opportunity to if they don't sign anybody else. And then you got Dylan Moore, but I think Dylan Moore should go back to his super utility role. I don't think he should be your opening day or expected starter for anything. So why not sign Johan Moncada, see what he does in spring training, give him a few games. We saw Luis Urias in that role last year. He give him some games if he's developing, or if he works out, great. If not, you dump him. I mean, Johan Moncada's not going to go for more than $4 or $5 million. Why not?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, look at his production in previous years. I know it was a little earlier in his career, but he was a good hitter. So I'd like to see. He was another target. And then my last guy is pivoting. Kind of earlier in the offseason, there was talks about this being a option, but Tristan Casas with the Red Sox. Now, I do not want to give up Luis Castillo in a deal that involves Tristan Casas. No, but I think if the Mariners,
Tristan Casas has a lot of value though. The Red
he does,
Sox
and I think he could be a productive hitter for our lineup and an everyday first baseman type that is a way better option in my opinion than anyone we currently have. So I'd like to see a deal involving Tristan Casas. Now, what that deal would entail, I don't want to see Luis Castillo be involved in that. I think we could get Tristan Casas for either some pitching prospects or even a bullpen or two arms.
Yeah, if that trade were to be an option, I like the idea of Casas. I think he's young, he's controllable, and he has a lot of upside. Red Sox are viewing him way too valuable. I'm not willing to part with any of our 5 guys for him, our 5 rotational guys. But guy I would be willing to do is Emerson Hancock. Red Sox said they need pitching. Emerson Hancock's, he's knocking on the door of the major leagues. The only reason he's not on the major league roster is because of our formidable 5. I think if you give him an Emerson Hancock, a high-level prospect, I hate to see Ty Pete go, but maybe a Ty Pete or a Michael Arroyo go on that deal with him, I think the Red Sox seriously consider it. It gives them their 5th starting guy. It opens up first base for Devers to go over there, so then maybe they can go out and sign Bregman. And it gives them a future prospect to be up the middle.
Yeah, I like that. That's kind of where my head was at as well, is give him I like Emerson Hancock. I like his potential, but I think he's a trade piece that I would be using for the remainder of the offseason to acquire a guy like Casas. I think throwing Emerson Hancock in there could be a tempting option. So, and then a guy I wouldn't mind, parting with someone like Ty Pete or Michael Arroyo, because I like Cole Young and Cole Emerson more, who are ranked above them. So, trading them off, I think it's something we have to do.
Mm-hmm. We have a deep prospect pool, and I think this was the wrong offseason to have that. As we've seen in the past offseasons, prospects go crazy. People are wanting prospects. They want the guys that are next up. This year, everyone wants major league bats. They want major league pitchers. They want people who are ready to go, which didn't play well for the Mariners this offseason. So
no, it didn't. No, and so we saw a few days ago, Max Scherzer signed with the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, it's a long shot, but that kind of crushed my heart
Castillo
of
dream.
A Castillo traded to the Blue Jays for a Vlad Jr. deal, but.
Yeah, that was not going to happen, but I like the optimism there. If you could do a straight up Castillo for Vlad, you take it.
It wouldn't be straight up. It would not be straight up. There would be others involved.
We'll give them they can throw a fish at Pike Place Market on top of it. So.
All right.
One of the guys that we saw recently signed that I really wanted the Mariners to be in on, they missed out on the Korean second baseman. No, I think the next best option was the other Kim, Ha-Seong Kim. I think he signed with the Rays recently for a 2-year, $29 million deal. I think there's a player option after the first year, which is looking more and more common for those who think they're worth more than the market entails for that year.
Mm-hmm.
Devin, answer this for me. The Mariners wouldn't sign him for $229, but offered $224 for Santana at first base?
Yeah, make that make
sense.
Make that make sense. No, it does not make sense.
Santana is 39 years old. Mind you, he still has production. He still has a gold glove. He was still hitting. But Ha-Seong Kim is arguably one of the better defensive players you could have. slot him at second base, even see if JP's willing to move to second base, put him at shortstop for 229. Come on,
Yeah.
that should have happened.
Yeah. I agree. But I think part of it again is at that point we have already signed Donovan Solano, and I think the Mariners have in their head that Solano is going to be the kind of everyday for second baseman this year, and then moving forward, they want to go with someone like Cole Young at second. So I
Something like
think
that.
that's where their is at, and that's why me personally, I'm not too mad about it because I'm high on Cole Young, I'm high on Cole Emerson, and some of the prospects we have. So I'm not too mad about it, but I see where you're coming from.
I think that's
That
where the Mariners need to change mentality, though. We have guys who, yes, are coming up soon. They're going to produce, but we also have pitching for now. You need hitters for
right.
now to complement that. And Hassan Kim batting 7, 8, 9 in your lineup, but being one of the best defensive second basemen in the league, I think
Hmm.
it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, yeah. I see where you're coming from, but yeah, I think that's just where the Mariners' head was at with the with that one, and they wanted Santana at first, I guess, so or
They
DH.
were going hard on Santana. They really
Yeah,
wanted him, and I'm so surprised he took less guaranteed money.
he went to the Cleveland Guardians
Yeah,
because he wanted to go back. That's the team that he came up with. That's where he's had most of his career. So
it's
I
like
understand.
a Raul Ibanez esque for the Mariners. Drafted
Right,
him, brought him up, went somewhere else, came back, went somewhere else, and ends his career with them. So I
right. So
respect it.
that
Carlos was
yeah,
signed.
I respect that, and I understand why he went there over the Mariners, but
Yeah,
I'm not mad about it. I didn't want him honestly. I I would rather have Justin Turner than Carlos Santana.
or a Tristan Casas or a Spencer
Or
Johnson. I feel
of
you.
course, yeah. Me, yeah. I
We
didn't. I didn't want Carlos Santana at all. So I'm not mad at all that he did not come here. But
yeah, we
yeah,
touched
I
on
see
this a
what you're
little
saying with
earlier.
the Kim deal. I don't know. Yeah,
It
they.
made too much sense, but
Yeah.
we touched on this a little earlier when we were talking about Scherzer to the Blue Jays. But a new article came out this morning. It says Mariners less likely to trade Luis Castillo. Twins showed interest. So, overviewing that article, there's Adam Judah of the Seattle Times said Castillo trade is, and I quote, is less likely now than it was early in the winter. I know you and I were kind of okay with the idea of Castillo being traded. Didn't love it, didn't hate it, but obviously it makes sense and we need hitting. We have pitching and we need hitting. So, um, earlier in the offseason we saw there was speculation that the Red Sox had offered Tristan Casas and Masataka Yoshida for Castillo straight up, and I
Yeah.
mean now it doesn't sound like it's a realistic possibility to even get anything for Castillo. So
Yeah.
looking back on it now, I mean, do you take that? Do you take that trade?
But yeah, going back to that point in the offseason to now, 100% I'm taking that trade. 100% I'm taking that deal. Um,
Yes.
Ki- Getting Yoshida and Casas for Castillo would have been huge. I mean, think about it. We put Casas at first. That fills our first base need. Even if we still signed Donovan Solano, we put him at second. And then we signed Jorge Polanco, we put him at third. Yoshida, he's in the outfield. So obviously, we're a little crowded there, but he could fill a DH role or we could rotate, those four guys in the outfield would be huge. I think that would literally complete our the Mariners roster lineup with that one deal at this point. So
I agree. I mean,
I
Yoshida immediately becomes your everyday DH, which we haven't
yep
had since what, Nelson Cruz or Daniel
yep
Vogelback. um, but
yeah
Yoshida is your DH. Casas is your first baseman. You bring Hancock up, or maybe go sign one of those inning eaters, free agents that's still out there for your starting pitching, your fifth spot. I mean,
hmm
because like you said, that would put. Let's just run down what that lineup would look like really quick. You would have Robles, Arozarena, Julio, Cal Raleigh, Casas, um, Yoshida, Polanco, J.P. Crawford, and then whoever's at second base. Donovan
yeah
Solano, you're right.
Solano yeah
That's a
Solano
deep
that's
lineup right there.
that is I know
Yeah.
I do not understand how we do not make a deal like that. I think it's because the Mariners in their head they wanted to hold out for I don't know a bigger deal or they thought something else was going to happen with Castillo.
Yeah. They were hoping
But
for Sasaki. They were hoping to trade Castillo and sign Sasaki. That's what they were going for.
yeah, but
Yeah, no,
I mean,
that looking back at that trade, I mean, I know we talked about it before we started this podcast, but we looked at it and we're like, yeah, Castillo's worth more than that. But looking back at
yeah,
it, is he? Is he though?
no, he's not. He's
You get your
not.
first baseman who is every day for at least 4 years with Casas. You get Yoshida, who's expensive, mind you, but it just replaces the Castillo money.
Yeah,
And he's your everyday DH. So
yep.
looking back at
And
it,
then,
I wish we could have. I wish we could erase time and take that deal, but
God,
it
I would
is
have been.
unfortunate that Castillo's no longer really a trade option. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. If it does, it won't be until probably All-Star break.
Yeah, till right before the trade deadline, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I think the Mariners may have valued him too high,
Mm-hmm.
but I would have, man, I would have loved to have those two guys on the roster. I would have loved to make that trade, and then we could have sent, and then we could have figured out something to do with even if we kept Mitch Garver on the bench,
Mm-hmm.
get rid of Haniger,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, that.
That right there makes the offseason, I think, a B, a solid B.
Yeah,
Compile Polo, Solano, Yoshida, and Casas. That's a B. That's
Yeah.
four proven. Sorry, maybe not all proven, but no, that's four proven hitters. Yeah, Casas is still a
Yeah.
proven hitter. He's young,
Yeah.
but he's a proven hitter.
he's a
That
proven
means
hitter. I
four
mean, yeah,
hitters added to your lineup that you didn't have. So,
yeah,
oh Mariners, why? Why?
I know. What could have been.
What could have been?
But now we have to face the reality of where we are, and yeah, what's going to happen at first base? Are we going to make a move, or
First
are we going
base
to be
and
like,
second base, I still think are question marks, but there are options, and there are internal options.
yeah,
We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, how spring training moves, and how the roster looks like on the opening day in March.
yeah, yeah? I'm happy with Solano at second. Again, I don't feel second is a need. I think we just need to get a first baseman, but
Mm.
we'll see what happens once Bregman signs. If any more pieces fall into place, but
The domino effect will happen. I can guarantee that when Bregman signs, there will be a flurry of moves.
yeah, I think so. So we'll see what the Mariners have in store.
Thanks, you guys, for watching. That's going to conclude this episode of Talking Tridents podcast. Let us know what you think in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe.